live stream também começar. Thank you for being here. Hope you can enjoy a música, né? Bota atender-me? Bota atender-me? Bota atender-me? Ah, ok. Ok, ok. Go ahead. Are you gonna go? All right. Yes? All right. Welcome to the second edition of our Caribbean Journalism Seminar. We are very happy to have you here. We're very happy to be organizing it this second time. And this year's theme is Rebuilding Trust in Caribbean Media. So we're very excited to have our speakers today. First of all, we're going to do a small presentation who we are and the road so far. So let's begin. So our association, Red Arubiano de Prensa Profesional, we started this a year ago with the launch of the first seminar. My name is Melissa Stamper, and I am the president of the association, together with my colleague Andreina Murillo. She is the secretary of this association, and my colleague Yorlini Odiber, and she is the treasurer. Together, we started this a year ago because we felt the need to come together to be represented and actually to try to figure out how we can professionalize ourselves and our colleagues, help them if they need any type of development, but also to stand for freedom of press and to see how we can level up the quality of journalism on the island. So I'm going to give the mic to my colleague. She's going to do to tell you what we do and what we stand for. And she's going to do it in Papiamento, and then she will give the mic to Yorleni. Yeah. There you go.
Boa noite, gente. Danke por vir um dia mais. Estão que não te conhecem, não te querem, pero ok. Meu nome é Andreina Morillo. Sou secretária de Rede Arubiana de Prensa Profissional. Agora aqui estou freelance também. Aqui conosco Atlanta, nossa funda Rede Arubiana de Prensa Profissional. Para sobra, nós está uma organização not-profit que está dedicada a encorajar a prensa na Aruba para uma prática tique mais melhor, vamos dizer assim, mais profissionalizar. Para sobra, nós estamos na Aruba com essa falta, hobby de alguns de nossos colegas, nós quer para nos melhorar, para não por word profissionalizar tique mais e para isso nós está fazendo diferentes atividades entre esse e essa aqui. Então, nós temos orador internacional que nós está purba para inovar tique mais e também vamos dizer em linha de inovação. Que está going on de imprensa de outro país, para Aruba também tem e assim nós portremos essa aqui na Paboso também sim conosco. Então, nós queremos inspirar, nós queremos educar o futuro colega de imprensa. Porta, please, thank you. Nossa visão está empoderar jornalistas na Aruba com educação. Também nós trabalhamos conjuntamente com Free Press Unlimited, com o momento que nós lo portamos em caso que tem problema legal, Free Press ajuda-nos. Para o que trata problema legal com justiça, por exemplo. Então, nós queremos para a comunidade tá melhor informar e com estándar alto de prensa. E nossa visão para o futuro, a prensa está livre, responsável e com nós temos mais, vamos dizer, colegas mais profissional. Esse é nós queremos. Misako aqui nós temos gente que tem basta anos de misaki, então nós queremos para esse que está vindo, que está formando cada que já não começa a trabalhar em outro médio, também vai em mesma linha. Pero também no momento que não mestre sa e não mestre sim aqui que está prensa, esse é nos pichão. Agora aqui me passa a palavra para nosso colega Yorleni Odiver.
Bom, e que estamos nanta hopi concentrar esperando o momento correto para nós começar com os invitados especial que está Rosario, Vincent e Paul. Sorry para inconveniente de agua corriente, pero nós está purba assim mais ligeiro possível. Bom, nós está com o valor que está para motivar. Sorry. Que está para motivar para exercício de periodismo bordo exercício com verdade, para tudo está verídico, não? Então, nós está trabalhando independentemente. Você escucha algo assim? Me tem sube baja. Nós está purba de membro que está exercer sua função de forma independente, no sentido que não está comprometido, mas tanto com na ética profissional para poder exercer aqui corretamente. Imparcial está algo muito importante para sobre essa base de periodismo, como me ser um periodista que por trazer a verdade para a comunidade. É muito importante para nós estar consciente que nós temos uma função muito importante em nossa comunidade para informar de forma como maneira deve ser e verídico, tendo em conta que nossa lealdade com o público. Isso é muito importante. Então, pensei, nós temos o valor aqui bom definir, como está querer, nós vamos começar a virar, assim, mais consciente que o periodismo deve ser elevar seu nível e uma maneira de fazer isso aqui está para meio de profissionalização. Pensei, nós está invitar colegas que ainda no vira miembro, para virar miembro, membresía está en realidad algo simbólico. Nos llama así, ¿no? Pastora, está allí 60 florín para año, se está para bojar badge manera saque, para identificarlo como miembro de RAPP, y banda 16, lo que está resta, va para un fondo, que está para ayudar a hacer nos actividades. El resto está para fondo que nos está allá, y manera, Andreina Visa, nos está una organización sin fin de lucro, que única intención está para vinco actividad de manera exacta, ¿no? Así nos llega a Jopileo, un año pasa, y durante el año aquí nos estaba teniendo diferentes reuniones con stakeholders. El stakeholder está muy importante para nos por trabajar de una forma más profesional y para nos por tener más sostén de comunidad, por algo en parte de lo que está el gremio periodístico. Nos reunimos entre otros con Ministerio Público, nos reunimos con gobernador, nos reunimos con representantes de Holanda, nos reunimos también con, entre otros, Universidad de Aruba, nos está teniendo seminario, nos está teniendo invitado en especial. Acordame más otro que nos reunimos. Tengo lista larga. Ok. Sí. Ok, sí, año pasado nos está teniendo seminario con tema estaba Turning Challenges into Opportunities. Entonces, nos hace diferentes reuniones con stakeholders, después nos hace diferentes workshops también, manera son de gente mujer. Después nos avínculo no seminario para año aquí y queda pendiente para ahora nos estaba en octubre un workshop muy interesante, un digital bootcamp, cuando estaba anunciando. La Caminda también nos tiene más proyectos, maneras de certificación de programa para periodismo. Entonces estaba un proyecto con la Universidad de Aruba y con alguna otra universidad, Holanda. Serie de desinformación, también es muy importante. Y así en la mesa nos estaba con diferentes otros proyectos. ¿Qué más botín? Ahora nos tenemos forma de contactarnos, si vos en algún momento vos haya información de nos, quizás na caminda nos perde vos email, vos contacto, pero please toma contacto con nos, rap.aruba@gmail.com y nos está arriba YouTube también, y nos está arriba LinkedIn, o llámanos, contactarnos personalmente a cualquier de los tres.
All right, thank you. So next up, we're going to have our first speaker of the night. I'm very happy to have him here. Long story short, I met him at Perugia in one of the biggest journalism festivals there. And talking to him, I realized we have a lot in common. He comes from Almere, and he is the editor-in-chief there. And the way he innovates the newsroom there made me very happy to be able to ask him to come here. So Vincent, like I said, is editor-in-chief in Almere, a regional broadcaster of Almere, and one of the most innovative local media organizations in the Netherlands. Fun fact, today he just heard that their newsroom got 5 nominations in the regional awards for journalism. So we're very happy to have him here. Yes. So with all, I'm gonna make it short. Welcome, Vincent.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Vincent Smith. I'm the editor-in-chief of 1 Almere, a local newsroom in the Netherlands. My presentation today will be about let me just clip this on for a second. That's maybe a bit easier. Yeah, that's easier. My presentation today is going to be about public engagement in a local newsroom. First, I'll talk a bit about what the company is that I work for, then about our target audience, and then a bit more about how we do and our vision on journalism. Almere is a local newsroom in Almere, Netherlands, a city of 228,000 inhabitants. It's a really young city. It only exists for 50 years this year. It was water before, then they dried the water and they made land, and now there's a city with 228,000 inhabitants. And the city grows, and with the growth also comes big city problems. Our mission is reliable, accessible, and relevant news for our inhabitants. And we do not only do that for the public, but also with the public. This is my team. We are now currently having 14 really young journalists working with us, starting from ages 18 till 24. I'm 31 and I'm the oldest one in my newsroom. And it makes innovation and community-based journalism not easy, but it makes it really cool to have this discussion with really energized young people who want to make a difference and want to use journalism to tell stories. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is some different topics about what we do at Almere. First, I start with our why. Why do we do community-based journalism? And what is community-based journalism? That I'll do in the audience engagement part. Then I'll talk about our opinion panel. We have an opinion panel with over 1,000 inhabitants who actively give us their opinion about stuff that happens in the city. I'll talk a bit about our pop-up newsrooms, open hours, accessibility ambassadors. I actually added a slide about our AI tools that we use. It's not in the index. And then in the end, there's room for questions. At Almere, we believe that local news only becomes truly valuable when the voices of the people that we're writing about are actively included in our reporting. And what do I mean with that? Of course, we can write about a story. We can talk to people. We can ask them questions. But how do people really feel about news? What happens after the news? We make a story, but do we call them afterwards? What do you think of the story? What was the impact on you? Most of the time, due to deadlines or stress in the newsroom, we don't do it. And that's one of the core values of our journalism, that we take time. People tell us their story. A story is valuable. So we take that value and repay it with our, you can call it respect or our time. Our why is simple. We exist to create reliable, accessible, and inclusive journalism that builds trust, strengthens public engagement, and supports a healthy local democracy. Audience engagement. Audience engagement is more than just reactions or likes. It's actually starting conversations with residents. It can be one-off, it can be long-term. With one-off, I mean like a call after an article, but it can also be on a more weekly basis. The public helps us set part of the local agenda which we report on, and we bring new perspectives and angles for journalists. And what this does, it creates recognition with our audience about the stories that we tell. Okay, I'll start first about our opinion panel. Last year we received a big funding from the Public Broadcasting Fund in the Netherlands, the Journalism Support Fund. And by doing so, we had access to be making an opinion panel. What does this mean? We ask our residents, how do you feel about this? And one opinion isn't a news story, but if you have 1,000 opinions on a select set of questions, you can talk about stories that are happening. So for example, our first research was about the dumping of garbage. And what we did is we asked them, how many times do you see garbage in your city streets? Because it's a lot in the city. How do you feel about that? Who's responsible? Is it the city or the people who dispose of their garbage? So we had a set of, I believe, 15 questions. And over 1,000 people for this first research paper did collaborate with us. They gave us their answers. It's not fully representative, but it's valuable as a citywide signal. So, for example, at this specific research topic, we could make a number that the residents would give the city for how clean do you think this city is. That resulted in a report, which resulted in city debates about the cleanliness of the city. And what we noticed a lot is it's not only about numbers. It's not about yes or no. It's about the open answers that give the most valuable stories. For example, at the moment we have one of these opinion panels open. It's about safety on the streets. We had a lot of, in the last few months, safety issues, not only in Almere, but in the Netherlands in general. So we started a panel about safety. So do you feel safe at night in the streets? This was launched just 2-3 weeks after a really young woman in the Netherlands was murdered. And there's a really unsafe feeling among a lot of women in the Netherlands. So we launched our panel and we asked them, how do you feel about this? Within one day we had 800 replies. So we get a really active signal of how people feel about stuff. And that's really valuable for journalism. Yeah. Now this is one of the results of that. And this is how it looks on the back-end side. So the first question says, how safe do you feel when you're alone during the day in Almere? And the second question is, how safe do you feel when you're alone at night in Almere? So this gives us really some good perspectives. Yeah. Then we have our pop-up newsrooms, and now we go to the community journalism part. We have a really nice newsroom, I love it. But it's in a really big tower in a big city, but it's a big tower on the 8th floor. Melissa's been there, it's beautiful, but it's a tower. It's not where the public is. So I said to my journalist, okay, let's go outside. You're a journalist. You don't sit behind your laptop the whole day. Go outside, talk to people, hear stories. So what we did is we started with pop-up newsrooms. What this means is we go to certain parts of our city, for example, community center, and we go there for 1 week. And in that 1 week, we tell on social media, we are here for a week with everybody. Not only one journalist, but me as the editor-in-chief and 6 journalists and 2 interns for a day. So there's a really big newsroom in a part of a city that most of the time doesn't get coverage from us because, for example, we don't know what happens over there. So what happens is when we are there, people come to us and they tell us their stories and they tell us, hey, this is happening in our neighborhood. Why don't you report on this? And then we can give that signals, we can talk about that. We now did 6 of these pop-up editorials. Now the concept was actually nominated today for a local media award, so I'm really proud of that team for doing that. The thing is, we try to go for a mix between open spaces and closed-off spaces. So we go to public houses, but also to we went to a care center for people with cancer, and there we heard stories of growth groups of people who found care in each other. We also reach people who wouldn't normally contact our newsroom. Last week we spoke with people in one of these public houses. There was a group of around 12, 13 older Moroccan women. And that's a target audience in our city. It's a big part of our city. But we don't talk to them a lot. And they don't see the news a lot. So this was a really good moment where we could ask them, how do you feel about our news? What do you think of it? We write about you, but we don't know you. And that was a moment for our journalists to be, these are not only stories we make, these are people that we're writing about. And I think that's key. You're writing about people, and people have opinions, and people have feelings, and people think about things. And if you ask them that questions, it's a really cool way to engage with them. These are some of the stories that happened due to the pop-up editorials. We connected with people we wouldn't have found otherwise. This is about Ramadan. Yeah. Okay, inspired after the pop-ups, we started to go with open hours. We had an alderman in Almere. He did political open hours, and he was just talking with residents. I thought, hey, that's interesting. We can do that, but not like with a pop-up, because that requires a lot of time, and we need to go there with the whole newsroom. What if we just open up open hours? So what we did, we printed the sign, talk with a journalist, and just printed that, put it on like a shelf thingy, and then we just went to a public park or the library, and just go to there, put the sign up, and just sit. Two journalists, and we're not looking for stories, we're just there to listen. We're not looking for quotes, we're just there to listen. People tell their stories. It builds trust, it sometimes gives us a story, but it's not the most important part that we get a story from it. We want people to tell their story to us. We set clear boundaries, but because everybody thinks that their story is the big story of the day and it's going to be a headline, it's not. But they feel heard. Well, this is one of the open hours. This is Marie, one of our journalists, talking with people. This is in a play garden. Yeah. I'm almost done. We go to accessible news. Next to community-based journalism, we do a lot with AI and innovation at our newsroom. So in Almere, 15% of people can't read or write that well. So we thought, how can we make our journalism be better readable for people who don't read can't read our articles that good. Our target audience was residents with low literacy, which I said was 15%. We collaborated with a startup in the Netherlands, and we made simple news summaries, factual simple news summaries, in 5 bullets of our articles, in really easy, understandable languages. We can do translations with that. We selected 8 really most spoken languages in Almere to be translated into that. And you have like a clarification of difficult words. So you can click on a word, and then it pops up, what is the meaning of this word? It's also a text-to-speech function for visually impaired people, and AI-generated summaries, which are reviewed by the editors. Yeah. For example, this is not perfect because we edited it yesterday, but you can select Papiamento. Yeah, next. You can see the flag. You want to show the flag? Almost, yeah. Then we have ambassadors. I'll skip this really quickly. It's a fixed group of 72 residents of our city who are ears in the streets. They're not journalists, they're inhabitants, and they sometimes call us, yeah, something is happening here, hey, we see something here, or the journalist can call them. They signed up for it, they know they can be called, and they know to keep their eyes open and their ears open to see signals that they can give to our journalists. Okay, then I come to the AI part. We have a lot of AI tools, and it's not to replace our journalism, but it's to make it better as a support tool. I'm going to talk about a few really quick. I think these are also tools that you could use everywhere, also here, which are, I would recommend these tools to every journalist I know. We use automated transcription of interviews with Good Tape. So it took so many hours to listen to interviews. Oh, what's this person saying? One click on the button, and now we have transcribed interviews. We do AI-generated voiceovers with 11 Labs, which are, we cloned actually some of our journalists' voices into 11 Labs. So if they're not there, but we do want to make a voiceover, we can make a voiceover with that, by them approved. We can make summaries of long documents and readability checks. It's what the accessibility part I just talked about. We can scan large batches of documents for relevant intel. It's for our research department with Notebook LM, which is a tool made by Google. We create special storytelling and interactive stories with Lovable and Replit, which makes our journalism more engageable. We have an audience simulation tool. I basically told that tool, you need to be really negative about this story. just critique it to the max, not positively, but just say what's wrong with it. Why? Because our journalists then get the sign, oh, maybe I missed this. Oh, why do I only let the city speak? Why don't I have somebody else also with a different opinion in it? So we have like different political views made into this tool. Collecting and analyzing negative feedback to improve reporting. We do grammar corrections with language tool, and we have an automated event calendar. So yeah. That's my presentation. I'm in Aruba until the 2nd of October. If you want to meet up or talk about journalism, let me know. And if there's any room for questions, let me know. Thank you.
So we have right now 5 minutes for questions. Does anybody have a question?
Well, what's the profile of your ambassadors? What kind of people are they? Are they common people? Do they need to comply with certain? What do you expect from the ambassadors?
We call it ambassadors, but they're residents. So, for example, hey, this is great service. So basically, those people are not journalists. They are just residents, and they see things like we see things, and they can give their tip to our newsroom. And for example, when that happens, we always say to them, we're not sure if this is going to be a story, but thanks for tipping us. And it gives us a really passionate inhabitants who are really passionate about their city, about the things that happen there, and it gives us new angles that we can fact check. And maybe there's a story in it, maybe there isn't, but most of the time they really know their own neighborhood. We have 72 days. Yeah, we have 72 ambassadors because we have 72 different parts of the city, like different neighborhoods. So we try to be in every different neighborhood with these ambassador programs.
So you expect them to have their finger on the community's pulse?
Indeed, yeah.
Are there any other questions? Again, I'm just gonna walk towards you so we can have the question.
Are they paid ambassadors? Do they get allowance? Do they do it for free?
No, these are just people who are passionate about their city and want to be, that there is, they know that they are not journalists, but they want to help us do our job.
I would like to add to that. Immediately, I think we have several districts. So I think it would be a very great idea to have ambassadors in each district. I'm just saying. Are there any other questions?
Who is the owner of El Mar?
Again?
The owner.
We are a public broadcaster, so we are a foundation, and we receive funding from the government, but also from big journalism funds.
We don't have this here.
Again?
We don't have this here on the island.
He's saying we don't have public broadcasts. They're all commercial.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah. What's the population? We have 228,000 inhabitants. Yeah.
Ako ko tabay amnesty siguro. My question is this, because at the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned that the public engagement, you had questions with open answers to get more information and stories. In my experience, maybe in our experience, people tend to participate more if there's multiple choice questions. I was wondering if you had tried that and what the result was.
So actually, within the opinion panel, we have both. So we use multiple choice, but also open answers. And what really surprised me, because I thought in the beginning as well, people aren't only going to do the multiple choice, and there's an open field if people want to answer. But for the first research, 1,000 people participated, and over 700 people filled in an open answer, which afterwards we, with AI, we and by ourselves did a sentiment analysis. What is the sentiment in the open questions? And also people wrote down their telephone number. So if there was somebody with a really interesting answer, we thought this would be good for a news story, we already had a really direct source of contact with those people.
All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up. like Vincent said, he is here till October 2. On Monday, he's going to visit Tel Aruba. So if there are any other newsrooms who would like a visit, let him know, let me know. So he's here till October the 2nd. And after the presentations, there's also time. So if you want to approach him during a drink, that's also okay. So we're going to move on to the second speaker of today. Thank you, Vincent. I'm just going to need to put up a picture from it to make me. So yes, our second speaker is an local, an Arubian expert. We're very happy that he is here. His name is Paul Elens. He is the founder and director of the Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, with a background as an experienced Chief Information Security Officer. I'm not going to say all that you hold, but I do found he believes that cybersecurity should empower organizations serving as a strategic enabler while effectively managing associated risks. We're very happy to have Paul here because lately on the island we have had a lot of cyber attacks. We also have a lot of disinformation spreading around. So we asked him if he could actually explain what are the dangers of disinformation spreading across internet, and actually how can we actually do something about it. I hope you have a solution. I'm intrigued. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for that elaborate introduction, and yeah, that's yeah. I'll
You can do it. Do you want me to?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. I don't want to take your job. I don't want to take your job like AI will do for all of us. So they say, right? So yeah, thank you for inviting me here. When I heard what this event was about, I immediately say yes. I'm all for it, right? And hoping to solve this problem of disinformation and scams and cyber attacks, and that's nowadays kind of like asking, hey, can you cure cancer? Yeah, sure, we can do it. You have 20 minutes, right? Yeah, so we'll solve that. Yeah, I'm a cybersecurity guy. I grew up in Aruba. I'm actually Belgian, but mi papiamento também es escutuhendo ginang. You can ask questions in papiamento if you like. Yeah, a bunch of technical cyber security, cyber warfare certifications. So regularly they ask us, they pay us to break into systems like banks and do ethical hacking, but that's of course with permission and with a scope and with work. So, and most of the times we are able to do that. We have now a local team, and it's a local company. We are with 22 people now, and hiring the 23rd one this week. So we are growing rapidly, and it's challenging. Yes, there's a lot of attacks, and it's also good to know most of our work is outside of Aruba. So 85% of our business is outside of Aruba, but we do want to help locally as well, and we do work with a lot of important organizations. Now, before getting into things, first of all, yeah, this is a book I read recently. I try to read as much books as I can. I can really, really recommend it. It will have a lot more answers in it than I can do in 20 minutes, so that's why I put it here. So it goes about information, the history of information networks, and everything can be viewed as an information network, right? So a democracy is kind of like an information network. What does DIMAS do? Process information. What does DIMP do? Process information. What does AZV do? Process information, right? So it's all information networks, and in democracies this is distributed. So not all information is in one place. You have a independent central bank, you have a chamber of commerce. So it's all information networks, and it's all distributed. There's no single person here that has control and say over all of that, right? Ministers have powers, but we have the power to change ministers. So that is a really, really important thing, and I wanted to thank you all for being the self-correcting mechanisms to this. It's a very important role. Because things go wrong, things do go wrong, people get greedy, people do favors, and things do not happen always as we intend to, right? Not even in a democracy. But you guys call them out, and you publish it, and you show it, and that is a really, really important job. So I thank you for that. And if there's fake news and whatnot, call it out, keep doing that, right? I know it's a challenge, it's a flood, but please do that. Because if we don't, and we go into a world of totalitarianism, so dictatorships basically, there you see those information networks, they get very centralized. And they tried to do that in the past, and it had really, really bad results. So Stalin, Russia, for example, you had many, many millions die of hunger because one centralized department decided what farmers could plant all over that continent. It's a huge, huge country. So that had major, major negative effects. And also to keep hold on power and information, they manipulate it, they control it. So that is really, we don't want to go there. So your role in this world has become more important than ever. And why do I say that? If you look at technology now versus Stalin's Russia, imagine Stalin had AI, right? He could actually, it's okay, it's okay. So, yeah, he could do that. Yeah. So, but imagine in Stalin's Russia or Hitler's Germany that they had the power of AI to get all of that information. And imagine they had cameras in everybody's pocket and microphones in everybody's pocket, and they could centrally process all of that information. That is a scary thought, but we do have that tool right now. It's artificial intelligence, right? It's cloud computing. We have that. So, potential future dictators, they're in a much easier position than in the past, and we need to counter that. Right? So it's not only about cybersecurity. It's really, really important. I personally find it important. Now, in terms of cybersecurity, there's always the risks and benefits. So do I say ban AI, stop AI? No, but we need to manage the risk. Use it ethically, set some boundaries, set some rules. And for you, when you're interviewing organizations, ask them, what is your policy on AI? How transparent are you? Maybe in 5 years' time, I think earlier, banks might reject applications for loans and mortgages just based on an AI algorithm that does that. Is it not biased? How did you train that data? And all those kind of things. So there's always going to be risks and rewards. And that's actually why I founded the Cybersecurity Center. I love technology. But I see in my field of work, I see a lot of bad things happening. And I want organizations to be able to use technology by managing the risks, right? So a bank should use AI, absolutely, right? Tax office, absolutely should use it, but use it in a controlled way, in a responsible way, in an ethical way, with clear controls in place. Yeah, this book, 1984, the Big Brother, it was mandatory at Collegio for me to read it. Back then I didn't like it. But now if you see it, it's like that was a warning, right? And we used it as an instruction manual. We have cameras everywhere, mics everywhere. We ask Siri to turn off the light, you know. So yeah, George Orwell, he really called it, right? But yeah, on a more serious note, there's indeed a lot going on. So if I look at our sister islands, yeah, not only this, but you know, in Curacao they had their fair share of problems. In St. Martin they had their fair share of problems with the power company. I mean, and if you really want to make a statement as a criminal, why don't just attack OM, justice system, right? Bring that down. And what are they going to do about it? Anybody got arrested? Don't think so, right? It's very difficult to arrest people. So attribution, so who did it, is very difficult to be 100% sure about. So, and if you're not 100% sure about something, you know, you can't arrest people or counterattack or do anything kinetic, so physical attacks back, because yeah, it could be China, but also could be Russia, and yeah, it becomes very difficult. So yeah, there's a lot of articles about it, but even here, and you really start feeling the pressure. So I mean, this is public information, right? A member of parliament sends out thousands of mails with viruses in them, infecting tens of other organizations, taking over accounts. Just walking through multi-factor authentications did not have any effect. And even I got an email from the crisis center in Aruba, from the director, sending me an email. I was like, I know him, but why is he sending me stuff? It was malicious, right? And that is really, yeah, that is really not good. And that's only, let's say, yeah, they publish, say, yeah, don't click on the mail, it's a virus. But then I ask myself, but those hackers, if that's a member of parliament, how much information did they get, and how much can they exfiltrate, and what are they going to do with that? So this is you know, a data breach, and what is the effect of that on the longer term? So basically all of that information gets used and gets weaponized and put into bots, and more spam and more mail, and it's not good. So yeah, this is today. Yeah. So I had to update my slide deck. So yeah, but it's and with all of these cases, we offer help. So we are not a nonprofit. I have to pay payroll. I have to pay the rent of the building, and it's really expensive to have smart people on the payroll, by the way. So we do projects and we do well, but in these cases we always offer help, and we it's not a paid project, we just help out. So and we did that a lot, and we will still be doing that. So for example, that was the actual initial mail that went out from Parliament. We run 24/7 security monitoring services. That means that I think 3 a.m. or something, somebody was behind there saying, hey, this is not good, right? Because that email was actually sent during the night, but member of parliament sending stuff at 3 a.m., that's not normal. With an attachment, and there were various other varieties of this, and they're very good. They hide. It's an encrypted document, so spam filters won't stop it, and in the email they sent you the password to open it, so it's encrypted, so the spam filter also cannot open it, but the user gets the password and opens it, and boom, takes over the PC, takes over the account, sends to all of your contacts, and infects them as well. So the moment we got this, we started, you know, let's say pulling the alarm bell and also giving mitigation options. So we worked out how to prevent it, how to detect it, how to respond to it, and we put that online. So yeah, I'm not much of a TikToker, so we do use LinkedIn. If you want to add us, please do. This kind of stuff can really help organizations stop these things. So there were a couple of tips that we set there, you know, that really stopped it. Yeah. So, for example, set your firewall to block newly observed or unrated domains. because these guys, they keep changing the domains, they keep changing the sites where the malware is talking to, and they change that constantly to avoid detection. But why would we visit a site that was created an hour ago? Why? We don't do that, right? All the sites, most of them exist. So block those and you stop it, right? So simple tips like that, that could really make the difference. So yeah. It's also about fake news, so I just asked the AI to generate some fake news about it. So yeah, the butterfly farm. I don't know if they got hacked, could be or not. I have no idea. I just put it in there. I thought that was fun. As you saw in the beginning of my slide, anybody noticed anything wrong on my first slide?
It's a Friday.
Yeah, critical journalists. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Yeah. So so I used AI to see how I can manipulate the crowd, just as a thought experiment that it's Friday today. So you would go, are you ready for the weekend? Yeah, and you put in, and it actually breaks down how you can create, let's say, fake news or manipulate information. So just talk normally as if it's and then hey, happy Friday, and you insert messages and you see it pass by, and then the event was supposed to be on Friday, but is it Friday? And before you know it, you add evidence to it, you leverage the crowd, say how many people think it's Friday, and then okay, then there's peer pressure, and so there's a lot of techniques to it that even I can just leverage. So. And this is just, let's say, a stupid example to try to trick you that it's Friday, right? But, if you could make a crowd doubt the day of the week in like 15 minutes, imagine what coordinated disinformation campaigns can do. And that is actually what is happening. That's really concerning. And again, I see this crowd and the work that you do as a counter mechanism to that. So. Please keep doing that. Do not be discouraged by the amount of the flood of information that is there. So yeah, again, it all looks real, but yeah, it's actually not. I don't like to post political stuff or doing presentation, but I thought for this crowd, I'm just gonna do it. I think it's important. So. Of course, it's so easy to just flood the world with fake stuff, and then when something real goes on, say, it's all fake. It's all fake. You fake. Boo. And you know what I'm talking about. This is not okay. This is not okay. It's a terrible example, but just to mess up with let's say, real information, you put a little bit of fake in it, you can dismiss it all, right? So. Let's say a example, if we could do fun stuff with it too, so real examples that there are let's say complaints of sexual harassment. I believe like 14 or so, right? And then you add a 15th, which is totally fake. It's fake, and then you say, yeah, but see, it's all fake. They're trying to, and that's how you manipulate information. Yeah, or do fun stuff like this. I mean, I think entertainment is also allowed, but then don't bring it as a journalist, right? So, or don't tell it's news. It's entertainment. That's okay too. And it's all fun and games, disinformation, but it really, really can have serious consequences. There's a page of Amnesty International about Facebook, Meta, and they dissect how Meta helped cause the war in Myanmar, which many people got killed, and also the book is about that, the one from I showed earlier. They explain it even better, but this is really setting up two opposite sides and really fueling that extremism, and the algorithms of Meta, but also TikTok and Insta and all of that, they're designed to keep your attention, to make it a little bit more extreme, keep scrolling, keep looking, and make it irresistible for you to not have a look at it, right? And there's a lot of psychology at play, and it can have devastating consequences. So, I mean, if you like something, poof, that gives you like a trigger in your brain, say, ah, somebody liked it, and you know, that's like a peer pressure mechanism. WhatsApp. Why is the logo of WhatsApp green? For our brain, that's the forest. If there's an alert, why is it a red dot? That's a berry. For our brain, that's just, we need to look at it. It's the same reason why casinos use berries and cherries. They want to keep you playing, right? So there's a lot of psychology at play. And again, I think, you know, press and organizations that look at it and call it out are very important. So please keep doing it. There is no magic solution to this. There's a flood of information. It takes really hard work to have the truth come up. That takes work because there's so much information. And I guess that's what you guys do. So, yeah. So, this one might be a little bit controversial, but I will show it anyway, why the data is already out there. So talking about data breaches, we have data breach fatigue. So it's almost not news anymore. It happens so much that they got hacked, and yeah, okay, yeah, the world didn't end, so it's fine. But all of that information is out there. Anybody see their email on here? Yeah? Sorry. Gonna put you on the spot. There's a lot. So this is relatively public information, right? You can Google it and you can find it on Facebook and on the sites and on all of that, or just ask people that you know. And what I did, I walked into our SOC and our Security Operations Center. I took one of our nerds. I told him, you know, I have a list of emails here. What would hackers know about them? How would hackers, you know, see about them? And what are their passwords? Okay, give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, I hope you don't see your password. Might be an old password, right? So yeah, I didn't link the passwords to the email, so you guys don't know which one is which. But yeah, I hear people laughing. So okay, yeah, change those passwords. Don't use them. Don't use them. So yeah, well, some are good though. Humber Salo and yeah, that's yeah. Yeah. So we did not hack anybody, right? So what we did is we went on the dark web and looked through data breaches and then looked for your emails, and we got a list of this. So we did not. We only did what we call open source intelligence. It's already out there. If you see a password here, change it. Don't reuse it. Change it, right? So organizations where you had an account, LinkedIn, Dropbox, or anything, there's a lot of them. Yeah, maybe the tax office in or Elmar, or yeah, they lost information due to data breaches. So your login information is there, right? So use a unique login, right? And things like Aruba 123, Aruba, you know, we can crack that in seconds. So hackers can do that in seconds. So don't do that. Also very normal, like changes. Yeah, from A to an A around, an O to a 0, and hackers know all that. Those tricks don't work anymore. So do change those. Yeah. Yeah, take pictures. It's all on the dark web. It's all on the dark web. You actually have sites like Dehashed or Have I Been Pwned. You have websites where you can look this stuff up. Again, it is public stuff. And hackers, they have lists of that. So whenever we get hired to try to break into a bank, we look at LinkedIn, take all of the employees, look up passwords, see if they use those passwords at work. And if they don't have a good password policy, security policy, training, and all of that stuff, they will reuse that same password for years at work. And we get in, right? That's a really, really easy trick how hackers do that. And I wanted to share you, I know it's a bit controversial, but I think for this crowd, you know, it's public info already, so might as well know it. So, if you saw your password, I'm sorry. Yeah, use a password manager, keep them safe. These tools, they look up and they will alert you, say, hey, you know, your password is part of a breach, change it, right? So you get alerts on it. Disclaimer, we are partners of Keeper, so it's an infomercial. This one is, the risk of using it is a lot smaller than the risk of not using it. Yeah? Open it on an old MacBook or something that you can restore once in a while. Don't use it on your work thing. Or ask us if it's bad or not. If you think you're under attack, let us know, and we can look it up for you. So be part of the human firewall. So be part of that. You have a very important role for democracy. So you are also kind of targets because you have influence, and yeah. So it's everybody's job. It's not just an IT thing. Yeah, and I'll close up with that. So don't reinvent the wheel. Inform yourself. You know, find how to let's say, take care of your cyber resilience, your cyber hygiene. It's on ChatGPT. It's on Google. I don't need to mention all of that stuff, but just spend a little bit of time, learn about it, and yeah, good luck. Yeah, it's okay. I can repeat the questions when they ask. I think it's better than walking back and forth.
Okay, are there any questions except about the password?
Yeah, two.
All right. Oh no, but I do need it for the live stream actually.
Yeah, but I'll repeat the question.
Oh, okay.
No. Or I think they will hear it.
First question is, what do you know about the Almar attack, and is it a client of yours?
It is not a client of ours, and I don't think it's ethical for me to elaborate on that. Technically, I don't think I have an NDA that would cover that. That's usually in place with customers, but I will say that yeah, we know a lot more technically what's going on, and we also use that technical information that was shared confidentially with us to protect others. So they took that responsibility so we can help others not fall for that. It's also not, I would say, try not to do victim blaming. Say, you see, this happened in Curacao. This happened in Sint Maarten. This happened in Belize. This happened in Suriname. So with the power companies there. So this is not something that you say, you know, put them on the spot, but yeah, maybe they can do better, or maybe they can improve, and definitely, I mean, it has to be managed, and questions should be asked, and you know, how can we prevent this, what happened, and so. But I don't think it's in my my place to answer those. Go ask them. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay.
Recently in the Netherlands, we had a big cybersecurity attack in which the data of hundreds of thousands of women was leaked. I was wondering, how could that have been prevented, because it was medical kept data coupled with a government ID. Could that be prevented, or would you say this is going to happen a lot of more times in the future?
Good question. It's about managing risk. So there's a lot of layers that you can put in place to prevent that, or maybe not prevent 100%, but lower the chances of it happening and lowering the impact of it happening. So I'll give a few examples. So one method is encryption. If data is leaked and it's encrypted, can't do anything about it. So the impact is lowered, right? And you have mechanisms like data loss prevention. You have mechanisms like firewall, segmentation, data masking. So there's a lot of things that you can do on the prevention side, on the detection side, on the response side to it. that can do. So leaking data takes a lot of upload. You can detect that. You can stop those uploads if you have the correct tools in place to do that. But it's not easy, and it's not. We never sell a 100% solution. We always say, you know what? We can halve your risk, or we can bring your risk down from, let's say, 50% probability to 5% or 3% probability. But absolute security is not affordable, and plus it would be so secure that the users cannot use it anymore, right? So if you don't want your phone to get hacked, turn it off. But yeah, if it's turned off, you can't receive calls. So yeah.
Are there any other questions? 'Cause I also have a question. All right, my question is this. As journalists, what can we do to actually mitigate the risk? Because when we talk about misinformation and disinformation, we can fact check it. But can we do other stuff to actually mitigate? Well, right now we do publish or talk about the attacks, the cyber attacks, what are the consequences, but are there other things that we as journalists can do?
You mean for yourself, or to protect society or make it better for society? Yeah. I mean, you could definitely, not only when an incident happens and then it's in the news, but we could ask the questions to, let's say, institutions, say, how are you prepared, and is there any national legislation on it, and if not, why not, and how can we adopt it in a pragmatic way, and how can we make sure that those measures are taking place, and benchmark ourselves. What are we doing on cyber versus other nations and other systems, and so yeah, I think part of questioning and publicizing, not to name and shame and put that kind of pressure, but I think if it's public institutions, then people should know where they stand, and if it's your data, you should be aware of or informed on how it is used. Whether it's processed by an AI system or not, and what kind of data is shared with who, and the privacy aspects of that. I think it should be reasonably transparent, and you can have a role to check that, to ask that, to verify that, see if there's put it in the spotlight. It is a really it is an international problem. It's a problem of nowadays. The more attention it gets, put it in the spotlight, and it will help. My opinion. Yeah, there is no magic silver bullet that will fix everything.
All right, thank you, Paul. Can I get the mic? Thank you so much. I think that is a great transition for our next speaker, because I see she's already saying yes. I'm going to introduce her first, so that she can come up. So, all right. My next speaker is, we're very happy to have her here. Also, I met her colleague in Perugia at the Journalism Festival, and he also had a presentation on fact-checking, which I found very interesting. And that's how we actually came into contact with Rosario. Rosario Marina is an investigative and data journalist at Chequeado, where she specializes in fact checks and explainers on politics, gender, security, and justice. She has published in international outlets across Spain, Guatemala, the United States, and other countries. Her work on migration has earned her prestigious international recognition, including the Lone Star Emmy Award. We are very happy to have her here. She comes from Chequeado, that is a fact-checking platform in Argentina. So let's give her a warm welcome.
that's the last one. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Rosario Marina. First, I want to ask a question. How many of you have ever heard of the word fact-checking? Can you raise your hands? Okay, great. Yeah, I think the previous talk was a really great introduction to mine, because I'm going to talk about fact-checking as a tool to combat misinformation. Yes, I'm not going to introduce myself because I think you did it perfectly, but I'm going to talk about Chequeado, and I work for Chequeado since 2019 in different projects. Now I'm part of the media program I'm going to talk about now as a fact-checker. Chequeado is a non-profit organization that has been working in Argentina since 2010. We are the first fact-checker in Latin America. And the aim of Chequeado is to improve the public debate, combat misinformation, and what we call raise the cost of lying in order to strengthen the democratic system. Then we are going to see how we do this. We have 4 programs: media program, that is kind of a newsroom, education, innovation, and research and impact. And we are certified annually by the International Fact-Checking Network since 2017. Now, yeah. We led and created LATAM Chequea. It's a network that now has 48 organizations in 21 countries across Latin America, and also Spain, the US, and Portugal. It started like a face-to-face meeting with our other fact-checkers, but now if you go to the QR code, you can find cross-border investigations we did together with different fact-checkers, and also you can see there that the aim of LATAM Chequea is not only to collaborate, but to put fact-checking in the public talk. I don't know. So yeah. Now we are going to talk about fact-checking. What's fact-checking? Fact-checking first started like a movement of verification of the statements made by politicians or opinion leaders. But now, with the explosion of social media, we also have the disinformation that goes viral in social media and has really potential damages. So I'm going to focus on this one. So what is disinformation? Disinformation is content in which events that did not happen are invented. That's the most common ones. Then you have content that is published out of context. Maybe it's something that did happen, but it's, I don't know, we are going to see some examples. And the other one is content that is misrepresented to change their meaning on purpose. Then we have to think about how this content is spread. It's in different formats: audio, videos, images, text, and it circulates on social media and messaging system. I was told that here in the island, everyone uses Facebook. In different countries, the different social medias are the most, the places where misinformation is spread the most. So in Instagram, TikTok, every social media. First RAPP is a non-profit coalition that makes this distinction between 7 types of misinformation or disinformation. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but for example, this one, what Paul talked before about something that may start not as a joke, but may finish as something that people believe. So satire and parody may be disinformation or misinformation. Also, you have misleading content that is used to frame an issue or individual. You have imposter content, fabricated content that is 100% false, designed to deceive and do harm. This is not the case of every disinformation. It's not that there is evil people everywhere, but sometimes people that make the content don't want the content to be like spread, or maybe it's something from 2019 and we see it now, and that's disinformation. False connection, well, false when the headlines don't match the content, false context, and manipulated content. So these are the 7 types of misinformation. Yeah. But what are the criteria for selecting what to check? Because there's a lot of content on social media, there's a lot of misinformation. So first we have to ask, how viral is the content? How many retweets or shares or views is this content having right now? Also, I put here number of times it reached us, because Chequeado has a WhatsApp number where people can send the content, maybe the link, or they can ask something, or they can send us text they received. And there we have the temperature of what people are talking on WhatsApp, because we cannot monitor WhatsApp. And we see how many times this content is reaching us. Then, how relevant is the topic? Are people talking about this? Is a topic that is in the agenda? Politicians are talking about this. Journalists are talking about this. And last but not least, the severity of potential harm of the misinformation. We're going to see more about this. Yeah. What are the potential damages of disinformation? I have some examples here. First, with COVID. The most, I think it's the most important potential damage is to people's health or lives. This happened a lot during the pandemic. For example, in Argentina and in a lot of countries, people were drinking chlorine dioxide to cure COVID, and it was spread everywhere. We did some fact checks that said, no, consuming chlorine dioxide does not cure COVID-19, and it's dangerous to your health. So that's, for me, the most important. Then to the democratic system. For example, this one. No, it's not true that people receiving social assistance in Denmark cannot vote. Why this is harmful for democratic system? Because people who receive social assistance may not go to vote because they assume what they saw on social media is true. So then we have to the economy of individuals, community, or systems, maybe some misinformation about banks, about money, in Argentina we have a huge problem some years ago that was called corralito. That means that people who put their money in the bank couldn't get it out. So that's a content we have usually. And damage to trust in people, groups, or communities. So to sum up this part, how do we select the content to check? First, we have to see if it's factual, if can be checked. It's not, we have to exclude here opinions, leaked information. Yeah, it has to be verifiable in practice, and it should be analyzed comprehensively. Also, what we said, it had to be viral and relevant, and it had to have public interest. So I did like steps on how to do fact-checking, simple steps. First, we select the content. Then we assess its relevance according to the other issues we talk about. Step 3 is to look for the original version. Now I'm going to talk about some examples, but with images and videos, we always use these tools, these 3 tools and others, but mainly these 3 tools. Reverse research from Google, that it's really easy, and everyone can do it, not only fact checkers. I'm going to talk about that, but media literacy and critical thinking is really important because people should not believe everything they see on social media. What if you come across an image and you think, I think this is not quite true, well, you can use reverse research, and it's really easy. Then InVid, it's a program that frames a video and do like a reverse research of these frames, and Google Earth. Then I have 2 threes. You consult the sources, like journalists, the original source, the official source, and alternative sources, like NGOs, like people who specialize on the thing the content is talking about. And then place it in context. Just explain the context of what we are seeing of the misinformation. And then rate it. How do we rate it? Yes. We have 4 rates. False, true, untenable, and misleading. Yes. The last previous one? Yeah. I was going to say, well, false and true are easy to understand. Like every source that you consult, the data, and the tools you used to verify said this is true or this is false completely. But sometimes half the content is true and half the content is false. Or it's untenable because you don't have data. For example, when politicians talk about something, you don't have data to fact check that. So that's why we have 4. Some examples I told you about. This is a really recent fact check. There was a picture of the Charlie Kirk's alleged killer spread in social media with a photo wearing a pro-Trump t-shirt. This was false, and it was really easy to look for the original picture of this guy. So this was the use of reverse Google research for images. Then this is an example of use of InVid and Google Earth. Here it says, no, this video is not of Javier Milei, our president, political event in Córdoba on September 19th. That was a private event, but rather of the closing of 2023 election campaign. That's the campaign where he won. So here we make this kind of things just to explain to the audience, just not saying, okay, we did this with InVid and Google Earth and believe us. So we capture some images, we compare, yeah. I think the other one is about the same. Yes. Also, the stages were different in 2023 and 2025, and we explained that. We show with Google Earth where both stages were and different images of both of the events. Okay, some key strategies for combating disinformation. Focus, as I was saying, on harmful disinformation when resources are limited. If you have like 2 or 3 people in your newsroom, or one, and you really want to do fact checking, you can do it, and you can focus on really harmful disinformation. Then you can identify narratives. Sometimes it's not like an isolated content or one content went viral and you don't know why. No, sometimes there are people that want something to be believed as true. So we have to identify, then investigate who is behind of this kind of disinformation, how they communicate, how they build communities, and who they are. And also what I was saying, promote media literacy and critical thinking. I think fact-checking is not only for fact-checkers and not even only for journalists. We all use social media. So we have to learn how to do like a fast fact-check with easy tools and think before sharing something. I want to talk shortly about AI. We have some tools and specific recommendation for AI generated images. I was going to ask if did you come across this image, but I think you do. You did. Well, this is Pope Francis with the white fluffy jacket. And that was really strange. I think everyone could notice that this was an AI-generated image. But some recommendations. You have to look for shadows and texture. For example, they are the shadow of his glasses is unexpected places, and the skin texture did not match the age of the Pope. And then look for old objects and inaccurate details. I think that's a cup of coffee or something. It's really strange. That's a recommendation, like to look for specific old details. A quick difference between manipulated videos and deepfakes. A video, we have an example here. A video that has been slowed down or edited is not necessarily a deepfake, but a manipulated content. For example, in Argentina, it's usually spread some misinformation about a minister with her talking, and the video slowed down, and they say she's drunk. So that's manipulated content. Then we have deepfakes that are videos that are generated with AI technology with the aim of creating false and realistic sequences. Some tools that we use to detect AI content: high moderation, hanging face, true media, and AI voice detector. None of them is 100% reliable. You have to do all the steps, not just like upload the image in high moderation and that's what you talk about. No, you have to do everything. But it's one tool that you can use to see what happens. Then, some tools, talking about tools, you can go, I didn't do a QR code, I'm sorry, but you can do chequeado.com, and that's tools for journalists. There are a lot of tools that are really useful. There you can find inbuilt, you can find something that I'm going to close with. And yeah, you can put like fact-checking tools, chequeado tools, we have our own tools, and some useful sites. And the last one, yes. This is a tool that Chequeado did that's called the Desgrabador. I translated as voice-to-text tool, but I don't know if it's okay. This tool does not work in Papiamento. I'm sorry, I looked for it. I asked the developer, and he said, I don't know, try. And well, no. But in English and in Spanish, yes. You can upload videos, interviews, classes, lectures, speech, and debates, and the grabador transcribed is the whole of them. Also, we offer an advanced version that detects checkable phrases in text to facilitate the fact-checking process. You can go to the public version, log in, and use it. Yeah, okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm just gonna go to you.
In your experience, how do you promote media literacy and critical thinking?
We have a program that is an education program. That's why Chequeado was born as a fact-checking foundation, but then immediately we created the education program. So we work with secondary school, high school students, with teachers. We have a program called for La Red de Formadores. That's people who want to know about fact-checking, and then they can teach. It's a lot of work, but I think with a little bit of to stop and say, what am I sharing? I think that's the question you can do yourself and do to other people, just to start. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Oh.
How would you go on with fact-checking your audience? Because, for example, when I look at the Facebook comments at some of our articles, we also have people from the public spreading misinformation in the comment sections. For example, a big event that cost the city a lot of money, and everything for years after that is the fault of that one event. That's not true. Would you fact-check each and every comment, or would you say, how would you go on with doing that?
No, we don't fact-check comments. Yeah, people that comment are like a lot, and we don't have the time or the resources to do that. But yeah, I think the WhatsApp number that we have is a really useful tool for that. We promote that tool, in our articles, so that people that read us can ask us, okay, what happened with this, and we do something about it. But yeah, in comments it's I think it's not possible. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Because I have one. If you don't have a oh, you have a question? All right.
So it's more of your opinion because you really know this stuff, and I ask myself that sometimes. The large social media platform like Facebook and the others, what in your opinion is their responsibility? I know in the past they did a lot more, and then recently they decided, no, we're not going to check that anymore, and it's free speech and everybody could say what they want. So what is your opinion on the large social media platforms? How much should they be doing, and at what point do you come into censorship territory?
Good question.
As you said, for example, Meta had a program, a fact-checking program. I think it's really important that you have responsibility on what is going on your platform. So I think this is a personal opinion, they should have fact-checkers on the platform. Yeah, not to censor people, but to say well, this is not true because of these things. But for example, the content may be unpublished, but you can read that this is not true. So you have the information. I think they should do something. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, then I'll have a question. Okay. I think it kind of applies to what you were saying. When looking at the situation on Aruba, we have politicians spreading misinformation. So how would you go about as a journalist to be very because you gave examples about how you would look at the images and show where it's actually not true. Would you say that you would have to be very transparent about how you came about the checking of the facts to make it more trustworthy? So how could you go about as a journalist to show the public these were the this was information that was spread by different parties? Because I think it applies to what you're saying, because we have different parties that also have different fanatics who will actually give comments that you do know they're fake accounts. So how would you go about that as a journalist who we don't have Chequeado on the island?
Yeah, that happens a lot in Argentina too. Our president and other presidents retweet a lot of fake content, and when we write the articles, we say this content was shared by the president. So that we do that. And then also, if politicians say something that is not true, we fact check their opinions. It's not opinion, their statements. Yes, we do that, and we do it equilibrado. I don't know how to say that. Balance. Thank you. With the opposition and the government, because we fact check everyone, and that's why some politicians do not love us. Yeah.
All right, thank you. If there aren't any other questions, I will wrap it up. Yes, no? All right, thank you so much, Rosario. Can we give her applause? So this wraps up our seminar. We do have a moment that we can network. We have drinks, we have snacks, so feel free to stay and mingle. And if you have any questions for our speakers, they are still here, I hope. They're gonna stay. And if you have any questions for us, if you want to become a member, we do have upcoming events for members. In October, we will have a digital bootcamp with digital tools. So that is coming up. We will also have, for the public, we will have a public series on disinformation, because this was specifically for our colleagues. That will be at the University of Aruba. And in December, we will also have a weekend bootcamp on documentaries. So if you're interested, please contact us and talk to us. Thank you.
Me quero sugerir também que se você não tem sugerência riba tópico não, que nós por trás adelante em nos próximo evento não, esse lo tá welcome. Pastora, quizás você não tem algum interesse de algum tópico específico, e agora nos lo agradecer se você não dado uma sugerência também.
All right. All right, let's have a drink or a snack.